Hi, Schlockmeisters fans. We're going to check out the Candice Rialson movie, Pets. Let's watch. Here we have Bonnie, played by Candice Rialson.
And Liz stays here.
That's her brother.
Have yourself back in a couple of minutes, or I'm going to go in and drag your ass out. Hey.
He's not very nice either.
Understand?
Her brother's kind of a dick, so she decides to run away from him. Steal his car.
Stop, you're just making it worse.
Some ruffians pull up.
He's just mean.
Say, babe, this dude housing you.
She ran away. I'm her brother, all right?
Oh, funny, I'm a brother
Hey,
too.
baby, is this dude really your brother?
I never saw him before this afternoon.
She's lying. Anyway, they beat him up. She runs away again. And then for the second time in this movie, we get a title screen. Here she meets Pat.
What are you looking at? What'd you do that for? None of your business.
She and Pat meet this guy who picks them both up, and I think he's got some ideas of what he wants to do with them, or at the very least, Bonnie. So after he starts rubbing Bonnie's thigh, Pat decides to escalate things.
See that road up ahead? Take it.
That's not the way to learn it.
The road, I said. Pat,
Okay.
you thought we'd be nice to you, didn't you? Give the nice girls a nice ride in your nice fast car, and we'll all have a nice long screw.
How can you say that? That thought never entered my mind.
Why not? You're a fag.
Stop it!
She stabs him with a needle.
There's money in the house. You can have it.
Where in the house?
In the desk. It's in the desk in the left-hand drawer. I got it.
So Bonnie stays with him while Pat goes to his house, and she finds all that money. Bonnie decides to have a little fun with him. Does a sexy dance. And I can't show it to you, but she's going to mount him and have sex with him right there. Can you blame the guy? Anyway, Bonnie took the guy's dog, too. This is brutal.
Now you can bark your fucking brains out. For at least a half an hour after we're gone. And be glad you're alive.
Yeah, and thanks. Thanks for not killing me with a toy gun.
You told him? I was wrong, baby. That's it.
Pat ran off with all the money and left
Come
her.
back here and check on you. She wanted to get rid of me. She's smart, real smart.
Take you. Before I summarize you, who cares?
Bonnie's an odd one. She loves him and leaves him.
Bonnie!
Everyone
Carrying her underwear.
Then they apologize.
She steals some fruit.
It's all right, Frank. She's a friend of mine. Listen, you better start taking your purse with you, Susie.
And then this woman covers for her.
Put that on my bill and...
That's Geraldine. Geraldine takes her home.
I'll be in the kitchen. If you need anything, just yell. Okay, thank you.
Geraldine wants her to
You could live
stay.
with me, and you wouldn't have to worry about clothes or stealing apples. How long? I don't know. Listen, you take your bath and you think about it, okay? Okay.
Geraldine is an artist and wants to paint her. That's not all she wants to do with her, though. She's a lesbian.
Unusual for a woman to
There's this guy named Vincent, and he wants to buy the painting.
I paint landscapes, too, you know?
Yes, I know, but I've never known you to be so completely involved.
Disappoint me. And I do want to finish it, Bonnie, and the sun is best in the morning.
You're lying. You just told me yesterday you do your best work in the evening.
Lying? How dare you call me a liar?
So anyway, a burglar breaks into their home. His name is Ron.
That. And just in case
He's
there
desperate
was, you
for
were ready
food.
to use this knife.
Jerry, he doesn't look like a killer.
Bonnie, you can't tell a killer by the way he looks. I'm gonna call the police.
She decides to hide him.
Do you want to run into her? Do you want her to shoot you?
As much as she enjoys being with Geraldine, she loves men too. And she's been starving for one for a while. I can't show you much of the next scene, but she hides him and takes him to bed. The next morning,
Try and understand something. I just can't get it on with just anybody.
Maybe that's all she needs is a guy like you.
Not that bitch.
You'd rather kill that bitch, wouldn't you? So he ran away, did he, Bonnie?
the jealous Geraldine.
Ron?
Then she's gonna call the police and say a burglar broke in.
Ron!
That scene's a bit too heavy for Bonnie, so she flees. She ends up going to that Vincent Stackman guy, the guy who bought that painting.
On the hill. No one would think of looking for you there. Would you be my house guest for a while?
Vincent has a
Even if
surprise.
it involved your favorite model? Huh? We could make an occasion out of it. Have dinner.
Geraldine visits him and he tells her about his zoo.
Much higher. You see, I sometimes see in my mind's eye a zoo.
Zoo?
But not with the usual animals, oh no.
He goes on to tell her that in his zoo, he would have only women. Next thing you know, Geraldine is locked in.
Vincent! Can't believe it, really.
And then she finds Bonnie there.
You see, I haven't forgotten you. And the fun we had.
Oh, Bonnie, why did you run away?
She played with
Vincent's a weirdo.
shoving.
But you didn't, Jai. You were afraid of
More and more women were engaged to take over. Women giving me orders. I should restore them to their proper place, Shirley. Possession.
So he shows her his zoo. He actually does have animals. That's a tiger. And then there's Bonnie.
Don't need to start all
She doesn't seem
over
that
again.
disturbed to be in there, actually.
Such a girl could become deranged. But Bonnie, leading a simple life of sensual pleasure.
Apparently he whips them, too. He's a woman tamer. Geraldine tries to turn the tables, though.
The lioness's spirit, I like that.
And now Bonnie's going to turn the tables on both of them.
What do you want with me?
Show me a man who's satisfied with one woman, and I'll show you a liar.
Well, happy twosome.
The film ends with her taking Vincent's car and riding off into the moonlight.
So I just go on my way, living life day by day.
Alright, let's talk about this movie, Pets, an odd film, 1975, or was it 73? I can't remember. Anyway, stars Candice Rialson, 1973, actually, who is absolutely stunning gorgeous, if you ask me. This was her first starring role and her first role without a speaking part, actually. She plays this girl named Bonnie who kind of runs away from home, although she was really running away from her brother after they were hanging out together, and he was just kind of an asshole, so she decided to take off. She had no clothes, no anything other than what she had on. She ended up hooking up with this woman named, what was her name, Pat, I think, this black woman who, they ended up getting into a car with this rich white guy, and then when he started to come on to Bonnie a little bit, Pat pulled out a gun, and they took him to a field, and then she said, I want the keys to your house, I'm going to take your dog, and I'm going to go steal your money, which she does. When she comes back, the woman throws the dog off a cliff. What the hell is up with that? That was brutal, actually. Anyway, then she kind of left. She took all the money and ditched Bonnie, so Bonnie left after screwing the guy for whatever reason. And then she hooked up with this lesbian artist, and the woman uses Bonnie kind of as her muse. She draws her. They end up having an affair with each other. And then turns out, though, she is still horny for men. So when this burglar breaks in named Ron, Bonnie befriends him and ends up sleeping with him. The next day, the woman, the lesbian artist painter, shoots Ron and kills him, says there was a burglar in my house. So Bonnie takes off again, and she ends up hooking up with this guy named Vincent Stackman, who was a customer of the lesbian artist, who bought some paintings from her, and then he puts her up. And then he ends up keeping her as a pet, literally as a pet. He has his basement full of exotic animals like a tiger. And he also has a woman, Bonnie, in cages. He said all women should be in cages. So then he gets the artist over, and he wants to have her in a cage too. And he has a whip, and he's going to whip them into shape, make sure they behave. Bonnie comes out of the cage, and she ends up locking both of them in the cage. And then she takes off with his car, picks up a hitchhiker, and that's the end of our movie. Strange little flick this is. Pets. Wow, quite a film. Several nude scenes in this movie from Joan Blackman, who played the artist, Gina, I think was her name, as well as Candice Rialson. She has several nude scenes as well. Lovely, lovely actress here. Definitely have a crush on her. She actually passed away in 2006, so too bad. But anyway, she was in a lot of these B movies, Hollywood Boulevard, and all kinds of other things. So anyway, that's the movie Pets. Let me know what you think about it, and leave some comments down below, and we'll talk about it. It's called Pets. This is the new Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. Watch it, check it out, let me know what you think about it. Bye.